If you had told me back in 2017 that a dolphin would end up haunting my dreams forever, I would have laughed so hard I probably would have pulled a muscle, because honestly, at that point in my life, dolphins were like these magical, perfect creatures to me, the pure, smiling angels of the sea, right? That summer, my family decided to do something big for vacation, something we could talk about at every Thanksgiving dinner until the end of time. My parents booked a full week on a Disney cruise to the Bahamas, and let me tell you, when I heard the words Disney and cruise in the same sentence, my inner child just about exploded with happiness. You gotta understand, growing up, I was that kid who knew all the Disney movies by heart. I'm talking Lion King, Aladdin, Finding Nemo. I even cried at the end of Toy Story 3 like it was a personal family loss, so getting the chance to go on a real Disney cruise felt like winning the lottery of life. We spent months planning everything out. I remember my mom obsessively printing out our itinerary, color-coding different events on the ship, and even researching every port we'd be stopping at like she was preparing for a military operation. My dad was mostly excited about the all-you-can-eat buffets, and to be fair, so was I. The day we finally boarded the ship, it felt like stepping into another world. Everything smelled like fresh-baked cookies and salty sea air, and the second you walk onto the ship, they announce your family name over the loudspeakers like you're some kind of celebrity. I'm not gonna lie, I ate that up. There were pools everywhere, giant waterslides twisting off the sides of the ship, live shows with Disney characters singing and dancing, and, best of all, unlimited ice cream dispensers stationed all around the deck like little gifts from heaven. I swear, I must have eaten 6 soft-serve cones before we even left the dock. Chocolate, vanilla, swirl, you name it, I had it. It got to the point where the guy working near the machine started giving me a little nod every time I walked up, like we shared some unspoken bond of ice cream addiction. The first few days passed by in a blur of sunshine, buffets, and pure happiness. We stopped at a few different islands, went snorkeling, shopped for souvenirs, and tried every tropical drink they would legally serve to someone under 21. But the real highlight of the trip, the thing I was looking forward to more than anything else, was booked for the day we hit the Bahamas. We had signed up for a special excursion to swim with dolphins, like, not just watch them from afar, not just feed them fish, actually get into the water with them. It felt like one of those bucket list moments that people brag about on Instagram, and I couldn't wait to live it. I spent the night before tossing and turning in my tiny cruise ship bed, my mind racing with excitement. I kept imagining these gentle dolphins swimming around me, doing flips, maybe even letting me grab onto their fins like you see in those tourist commercials. I had no idea, absolutely no clue, that I was actually signing myself up for one of the most uncomfortable and awkward experiences of my entire life. The morning we docked in the Bahamas was perfect: blue skies, warm breezes, that smell of salt water in the air that instantly makes you feel like you're on vacation. We packed up our day bags, slathered ourselves in sunscreen until we were basically glowing, and made our way off the ship with a giant group of other tourists. The port was bustling with people, local vendors selling handmade jewelry, kids chasing each other around, tourists snapping a million photos with their phones. We found the group for our dolphin excursion pretty easily. There was a giant cardboard sign that said, "Swim with Dolphins," with a smiling cartoon dolphin that looked way too innocent in hindsight. We piled into this colorful taxi van that looked like it had lived 3 different lives already, and bounced along these narrow island roads surrounded by bright green trees and houses painted in colors so bold you could see them from space. After about 20 minutes, we pulled up to the dolphin sanctuary, and my heart just about exploded from excitement. The place was beautiful, like something straight out of a travel magazine. Tall palm trees swayed in the breeze, tropical flowers lined the walkways, and in the distance, you could see this giant crystal-clear pool where the dolphins swam. It was one of those moments where you almost have to pinch yourself because it feels too good to be real. They handed us life jackets and snorkels and gave a quick safety briefing about how to treat the dolphins respectfully: no sudden movements, no grabbing, no yelling, pretty standard stuff. I remember standing there thinking, man, this is gonna be the best day ever. You won't believe what happened next. We followed our guide down a winding wooden pier toward the big lagoon where the dolphins were waiting. As we got closer, I could see them popping their heads up out of the water, clicking and chirping and doing these little flips like they were just as excited to see us as we were to see them. My heart was pounding in my chest, part nerves, part pure excitement, and when they told us to step into the shallow water, I didn't hesitate for a second. The water was warm, almost bath-like, and the dolphins immediately started swimming around us, brushing up against our legs and making these adorable squeaking noises that melted my heart. It was like being in a real-life Disney movie. I thought I was about to have the most magical experience of my life. I was wrong. Very, very wrong. The second my foot touched the bottom of that lagoon, I felt this weird mixture of excitement and pure awe, like I was stepping into a whole different world. The water was so clear that you could see every ripple, every fish darting past, and of course, the sleek, shining bodies of the dolphins gliding all around us like they owned the place. There must have been at least 8 or 9 dolphins swimming circles around our group, and the energy in the air was just electric. People were laughing, kids were shrieking with delight, and the dolphins were practically showing off, doing flips and racing each other back and forth like it was some underwater Olympics. At first, I was loving every second of it. I mean, come on, I was standing in the middle of a tropical lagoon in the Bahamas, surrounded by dolphins. It felt like living inside a screensaver. The trainers started calling the dolphins over one by one, teaching us how to signal them with little hand gestures. If you waved your hands just right, they'd swim up, let you pet them, or even give you a little kiss on the cheek. It was adorable, the kind of thing you dream about when you're stuck working a boring summer job flipping burgers or folding t-shirts at the mall. For a few magical minutes, everything was perfect. And then, it happened. One dolphin, this big, gray, mischievous-looking guy, suddenly took a serious interest in me. At first, I thought it was cute. I mean, who wouldn't want to be singled out by a dolphin, right? I gave him a little pat on the back and smiled, feeling like some kind of aquatic Disney prince. But then he came back. And back again. And again. At first, he just bumped up against me gently, brushing his smooth, rubbery side against my arm and my hip. I figured he was just being friendly, you know, dolphin stuff. Everyone else around me was laughing and petting the dolphins too, so I didn't think much of it. But then it got weird. This dolphin, who the trainers casually introduced as Buddy, started getting way more up close and personal than I was comfortable with. He wasn't just swimming by anymore, he was full-on rubbing himself against me, like some kind of clingy underwater puppy who didn't understand personal boundaries. And every time he did it, he made sure to, gently, slap me with parts of himself that I really, really didn't want anywhere near me. At first, I tried to laugh it off, because what else are you supposed to do when you're being borderline tackled by a 50-pound sea mammal in front of a bunch of strangers? I glanced over at the trainer, half expecting them to swoop in and save me, but they were just standing there smiling like this was the most normal thing in the world. Meanwhile, Buddy was acting like I was the last eligible bachelor at a dolphin prom. I awkwardly shuffled sideways in the water, trying to put some distance between me and my new friend, but it didn't work. Buddy chased me down like a heat-seeking missile, gliding up along my leg and pressing against me in a way that made every hair on my body stand straight up in horror. I wanted to scream, but instead I just stood there frozen, awkwardly giggling like some kind of malfunctioning robot, because I genuinely had no idea what the appropriate response was when a dolphin decides you're their soulmate. The rest of my group was too busy taking selfies and laughing at the playful dolphins to notice the personal crisis unfolding right next to them. You won't believe what happened next, because it somehow got even worse. The trainer clapped their hands to get the dolphins' attention, trying to move them into a group trick where they all did synchronized flips. Every other dolphin immediately zipped over to the center of the lagoon to show off. But not Buddy. Oh no. Buddy had other plans. Instead of following the others, Buddy swam up behind me, and I kid you not, he actually wrapped his flippers around my waist in what can only be described as the most uncomfortable dolphin hug in the history of hugs. I froze. Everyone else was cheering and clapping, completely oblivious to the fact that I was being held hostage by the world's most overly affectionate dolphin. I tried to gently pry his flippers off me, but Buddy just tightened his grip, chirping happily like this was the best day of his life. The trainer finally noticed and called out, "Looks like Buddy made a new best friend." Everyone laughed. I wanted to sink into the ocean and never be seen again. The trainer swam over, finally managing to pry Buddy off of me, and gave me this big, overly cheerful smile like I should be honored to have been chosen by this sea creature. Meanwhile, I could feel my face turning every shade of red imaginable. I drifted back toward the edge of the pool, hugging the barrier like it was a lifeboat, praying the rest of the experience would go by without any more incidents. But Buddy wasn't done. Oh, no. Not by a long shot. Every time the group moved to a new activity, taking pictures, learning tricks, feeding the dolphins, Buddy found me. It was like he had a built-in GPS locked onto my soul. And every time he swam by, he made sure to accidentally bump into me in a way that was just a little too friendly to be ignored. It got to the point where I wasn't even enjoying myself anymore. I wasn't watching the dolphins jump or taking pictures or laughing along with everyone else. I was too busy scanning the water like a paranoid castaway, just waiting for the next stealth attack. Every splash, every ripple sent a jolt of anxiety through my body. I kept telling myself, it's just a dolphin, it's just a dolphin, stay calm, don't panic. But deep down, I knew. Buddy had chosen me. And there was nothing I could do about it. At this point, I was doing everything short of climbing out of the water to avoid my new aquatic stalker. Every few minutes, Buddy would circle back around like some kind of underwater ex-boyfriend who just couldn't take a hint. I tried hiding behind other tourists, I tried pretending to be super into the trainer's speech about dolphin biology, I even tried standing perfectly still, hoping if I didn't move, he'd lose interest and go bother someone else. Nope. Buddy was locked onto me like a heat-seeking missile of pure awkwardness. And let me tell you, every time he rubbed up against me again, it wasn't just a cute little bump like before, it was, how do I put this delicately? It was very clear Buddy had feelings. And every time, I died a little bit more inside. You ever have one of those moments where you're so uncomfortable, your brain just kind of leaves your body and floats up to the ceiling like, nope, we're not dealing with this, you're on your own, buddy. Yeah. That was me. Meanwhile, the trainers kept calling out instructions, teaching us how to make the dolphins spin, how to signal them to jump, and I was standing there like a piece of soggy driftwood, praying Buddy wouldn't make another move. But of course, because my life is apparently a sitcom, the next activity made everything even worse. We were supposed to take individual photos with the dolphins. Like, each person gets called up, one at a time, to smile and pose with a dolphin for that perfect Instagram-worthy moment. When they called my name, I actually hesitated for a second. I considered faking an injury. Or pretending I had suddenly developed a rare fear of sea creatures. But everyone was clapping and cheering and waving me forward like I was a contestant on a game show, and before I could even process what was happening, I was wading back into the middle of the lagoon with Buddy speeding toward me like a torpedo of doom. The trainer positioned me facing the camera, standing stiff as a board with a fake grin plastered on my face, while Buddy swam up beside me, chirping happily like he hadn't spent the last 30 minutes completely ruining my life. Okay, now put your arm around him, the photographer called out cheerfully. I hesitated. I knew this was a bad idea. Every fiber of my being was screaming, don't do it, abort mission. But everyone was watching, the other tourists, the trainers, the photographer, and I didn't want to be the weirdo who couldn't even take a dolphin photo without causing a scene. So, like an idiot, I put my arm around Buddy. And that's when Buddy saw his moment. Instead of staying still like he was supposed to, Buddy, and I swear I am not making this up, wiggled his way around so that he was pressing up against me, full body, with a very noticeable enthusiasm. It was not subtle. It was not innocent. It was not something I could ignore. You could actually hear a few awkward giggles ripple through the group because, yeah, it was that obvious, and there I was, standing frozen, smiling like a terrified hostage, while a dolphin very publicly violated every shred of my personal space. The photographer, to their eternal credit, just kept snapping photos like nothing was wrong, because Disney employees are clearly trained to power through no matter what nightmare scenario is unfolding in front of them. Alright, big smile, they chirped. I wanted to cry. Instead, I grimaced so hard I think I permanently damaged a muscle in my face. After what felt like an eternity, the trainer finally pried Buddy off me again, laughing it off like it was the funniest thing ever. "Oh, Buddy just really likes you," they said with a wink. "Yeah, thanks. Great. Exactly the kind of life milestone I wanted to unlock on this trip." I sloshed back to the edge of the pool as fast as I could without causing a scene, my entire body radiating secondhand embarrassment so strong I'm pretty sure it altered the Earth's magnetic field. At that point, I was done. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I had tapped out. I didn't want to swim anymore. I didn't want to take pictures. I didn't even want to be within a 10-mile radius of a dolphin ever again. I just stood there, chest deep in water, counting the minutes until this whole nightmare would be over. But Buddy? Buddy wasn't done. You won't believe what happened next. The trainers set up one last, grand finale, trick. They had the dolphins swim by and push each tourist across the water by their feet, like some kind of superpowered dolphin ride. It was supposed to be the ultimate cherry on top of the dolphin experience. One by one, people took their turn, they would float on their stomachs, feet pointed backward, and two dolphins would zoom up and gently nudge their soles, rocketing them across the water like magic. It looked incredible. But when it was my turn, Buddy volunteered. Of course he did. I was supposed to lay flat and float, feet facing the dolphins. I did it, even though my whole body was screaming "Get out now." And sure enough, while the other dolphin politely pushed my right foot forward, Buddy went rogue. Instead of pushing my foot, he swam straight up, body pressed way too high, and gave me one final, full-body shove that almost knocked the snorkel out of my mouth. It was so bad, so completely ridiculous, that when I finally skidded to a stop at the edge of the lagoon, I just laid there, face down in the water for a few seconds, contemplating every decision that had brought me to this moment. The trainers clapped. Everyone cheered. And I just quietly accepted that I had become the main character in the world's most uncomfortable animal encounter story. Finally, mercifully, the session ended. We handed back our snorkels and life vests, collected our souvenir photos, which, yes, included a beautiful high-res shot of me grimacing while Buddy clung to me like a needy prom date, and shuffled back toward the taxi vans. As we bumped along the bumpy Bahamian roads, heading back toward the ship, my family chatted excitedly about how amazing and beautiful the experience was. Meanwhile, I sat there, staring blankly out the window, wondering if I would ever be able to look at a dolphin again without breaking out in a cold sweat. And folks, you won't believe the lasting effects this had on me. Because even after the cruise ended, Buddy wasn't done haunting me. I wish I could tell you that once we got back on the cruise ship, everything went back to normal. I wish I could say that I laughed the whole thing off, grabbed another 3 cones of free ice cream, and danced it out at the deck party under the fireworks. But the truth is, Buddy left a mark on me that day. Not a physical one, thank goodness, but a mental one that would pop up at the absolute worst times for years afterward. At first, I thought maybe it was just leftover awkwardness, you know. Like a funny story you tell once or twice, and then it fades into the background noise of your life, right next to your old school photos and embarrassing prom memories. Wrong. It followed me home like a stubborn piece of seaweed stuck to the bottom of my brain. The first time I realized how deep the damage went was about 2 weeks after we got back to the States. I was hanging out with some friends at the mall, just minding my own business, when we wandered into this random gift shop. And there it was. A giant, smiling, cartoonish dolphin statue right by the entrance, welcoming customers like it was the cutest thing in the world. The second I saw it, my whole body tensed up like a coiled spring. It was just a statue, fiberglass, bright blue, wearing sunglasses and holding a surfboard, but I swear for a split second, I saw Buddy's real face staring back at me. I must have jumped like 3 feet backward because my friends immediately started laughing and asking me what was wrong. I played it off like it was nothing. "Oh, you know, just thought I saw a spider, huh. But inside, I was spiraling. After that, it became a pattern. Anytime I saw a dolphin, a stuffed animal, a poster, a logo on a t-shirt, my brain would immediately flash back to that day in the Bahamas. The gliding, the rubbing, the awkward dolphin hug. The full-body shove during the grand finale trick. Sometimes I'd get phantom feelings, like I could actually feel Buddy's flippers still wrapped around my waist. And let me tell you, there's no easy way to explain why you're suddenly twitching and backing away from the stuffed animal aisle at Target. It got so bad that I actually stopped watching movies with dolphins in them. No more Finding Nemo. No more Flipper. Even seeing a dolphin emoji pop up on my phone would make my stomach drop a little bit. And of course, everyone around me thought it was hilarious. Anytime we were at a birthday party or a barbecue and someone mentioned the ocean, someone, usually my lovely, supportive family, would immediately chime in, "Hey, tell them about the time you got harassed by a dolphin." Like it was my fun party trick. And listen, part of me gets it. It is objectively funny, in a horrifying, traumatizing, please let me crawl into a hole and disappear, kind of way. But every time I told the story, people would laugh so hard they'd have tears in their eyes. And meanwhile, I would sit there, internally reliving the moment Buddy the dolphin decided I was his one true love. You won't believe how far it went. At one point, I actually tried therapy. And you know how you're supposed to bring up traumatic memories in therapy to work through them? Yeah. Imagine trying to explain to a completely serious, professional therapist that you have mild PTSD from an overly affectionate dolphin. She was great, super understanding, very professional about it, but even she couldn't help chuckling a little bit. It got to a point where I had to either laugh about it or let it haunt me forever. So, eventually, I chose to laugh. I started owning the story. Started making it part of my personal lore. Whenever someone asked for a crazy story about my life, I wouldn't hesitate. I'd lean in, lower my voice like I was about to reveal a government secret, and say, "Have I ever told you about the time I got chosen by a dolphin against my will?" People would eat it up. And honestly, it started to feel good. Like taking back a little bit of power from the weirdest experience of my life. But I'll be honest with you, even today, years later, dolphins still freak me out just a little bit. I can go to the beach, no problem. I can swim in the ocean, totally fine. But if I see that flash of gray, that smooth, curved fin breaking the surface of the water, my heart skips a beat. My brain goes into full DEFCON 1 mode. Because deep down, some part of me still thinks Buddy might somehow be out there. Still searching for me. Still waiting for his long-lost soulmate to return to the lagoon. And I know how insane that sounds. But if you had been there, if you had felt the absolute unhinged dolphin energy targeted at you like a laser beam, you'd understand. So yeah. That's the story of how a Disney cruise, unlimited ice cream, and one extremely persistent dolphin changed my life forever. Every time I see a dolphin sticker, or a cartoon dolphin on a kid's backpack, or even just a beach towel with a dolphin on it, I get that little twinge of panic. And then I laugh. Because honestly, what else can you do? Life's gonna throw weird, ridiculous, totally unpredictable stuff at you. You can either run from it or you can turn it into the best story you've ever told. And hey, at least now, when someone says, "Tell me something interesting about yourself," I never have to think too hard.